Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I now call the meeting of the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag. Welcome to the Hillsborough County Code Enforcement Special Magistrate hearing. When addressing the Special Magistrate, please state your name, address, and speak clearly into the microphone. If you're planning to speak during this hearing, you must sign the speakers list located at the front door for record. Presentations by the county, respondent, and opposition must be kept to a maximum of 10 minutes each. The Special Magistrate may recess at 12:30 and reconvene at 1:30 to conclude its business if needed. The basic process for this hearing is as follows. Your case will be announced. Ms. Rodriguez will conduct the oath of witness. Staff will present their evidence on your case, and then you will be allowed to rebut that evidence and explain what has occurred. I will close the hearing and announce a decision. All decisions are based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history. I may ask questions and allow other witness testimony as necessary. If I issue an order for compliance, it is your responsibility to notify the code enforcement officer on or before the date ordered to demonstrate the violations have been corrected. Depending on my order, the code enforcement staff may later have to conduct an inspection to see if you have complied. If the staff believes you have not complied, you will receive a notice in the mail. By law, you have 10 days to contest that notice, otherwise it will be considered correct and a lien may be filed against your property. If you have any questions, these rules are outlined by Hillsborough County Codes of Ordinances and Laws, Chapter 14, Article 2, Section 14. Any person who decides to appeal a decision of the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate will need a record of the proceedings. The record is comprised of the testimony and evidence upon which an appeal is based. It is your responsibility to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceedings is made. By law, you have 30 days from the date of the order to appeal the Special Magistrate's decision to Circuit Court. And before we begin, please silence all electronic devices. Ms. Rodriguez?
Will county staff please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You may be seated. First case is on page 1 of your agenda, item 2, case number CE 20007026, Dwayne Wilson. This is a continuance. Do you have the case summary?
I do.
Thank you. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please, each of you state your name and address for the record.
Hold on one second. We'll turn the microphone for you.
Dwayne Wilson, 11648 Timber Ridge Drive, Tampa, Florida.
Patricia Murray, 11648 Timber Ridge Drive, Tampa, Florida, 33625.
Do you recognize that photo as the property?
Yes.
Thank you.
Officer?
There. Good morning. Officer Mike Smoke, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. On May 13th, 2021, I responded to the address of 11648 Timber Ridge Drive in reference to a neighborhood complaint or a neighbor complaint about numerous issues with the property. The number one complaint was that they were operating a business on property that's owned AS1. Also that they had built a fence in the front of the property that was over 4 feet in height. On arrival, I observed the fence. I also observed numerous commercial vehicles that were on the property and also some equipment that indicated that a business was being operated at the location. There were also additional conditions that I observed, namely a pair of shipping containers that were on the property, and took photographs of the conditions, and the owner was notified of the situation and returned to the property at a later date to check to see if the conditions had been complied. And they were not, they remained. So we're here today.
Okay, what would you like to tell me?
Well, we found a gentleman that's helping us right now. We filed a variance for the fence. We've already been robbed since we've been there for a $25,000 stump grinder. We got it back it went to Miami along with another trailer in that neighborhood that got stolen the same night. So that being said, but we filed a variance for the fence, the containers, and some other things. We're actually paying the fees today. We have paperwork that the guy had helped us with because we don't know exactly what we're doing. As far as the containers, I'm going to build a building out there. I'm actually going to call today and find out about somebody coming in and building a building around them containers. Commercial equipment, I'm not running a business off my property. I go to people's properties and work for them. I don't run a business off my property. I just park stuff there. I have another property in North Florida that I got 10 acres. I take equipment back and forth because I work up there a little bit and I work down here a bit. So, but we're trying to fix the issue. We're going to work on getting the building built around them. We have filed a variance for the fence and some other things that apparently that's wrong there. So we're in the midst of doing it. I don't know how long it takes for the variance to be filed or the process of it, but we do have a gentleman helping us out with it. His name's John LaRocca.
And the fence variance, the variance is just for the fence?
Well, it's for the fence, and they said when we bought the property, it was in shambles. It's about 75% better than what it was. So we've had issues on a back porch that was there prior to us buying the place. There's a second home on the property with a second power pole, a second address on that property when we bought it. They said there was issue with that, which I talked to Lori downtown, and Lori said that don't worry about that because that's kind of, I don't know exactly why they was giving me a problem. It was existing there. So we're just trying to fix the problems. We ain't trying to buck y'all. We just want to get the problems fixed and move on with our life.
Understand. I guess my biggest question is if the variance is in regards to the use of zone and the fencing, does that also resolve the issue in regards to your outside open storage and commercial vehicle? Is that all inclusive? Are you changing the zoning for the property or?
No.
Okay.
No, I actually ran into Mr. Smokes the other morning and talked with him about it. And we're going to I wanted to do a building around them containers anyhow. I don't trust people that, I got a $6,500 shed that you could take a butter knife and cut through it and rob me. I've got 4-wheelers, I got boats,
Don't tell everybody everything you have on your property.
anyhow, but I want my stuff safe and secure. I don't want to get robbed again. We put cameras up since then. We've done a lot of stuff. The place was a mess. We were just trying to fix it up, clean it up, and, have a nice place, considering some of the places in that neighborhood. So,
Okay.
I don't know how long the variance is going to take, but we are working on everything. And I'm going to call somebody today about building a building out in the front because I don't have no backyard. I got where the containers are. That's the most yard I have to work with.
Okay. And I was not here for the last meeting, so I'm assuming it was continued to give you an opportunity to file for the variance?
That's what the last judge said. Yeah, file for the variance and
you technically haven't done that. You have the paperwork in your hand, but you have not done that yet.
It's filed. I'm when I get out of here, I'm sending the guy the $2,000 to pay for the variance to get it in motion.
Okay. Do we have confirmation that is in the system, that the variance has been applied for?
We're also doing a vacate on a property next to us that y'all supposedly own. We're trying to do a vacate for a drainage next to us that nobody even maintains. We've been maintaining it.
You've got a lot going on.
Just trying to fix the problem, man. It's costing a lot of money.
Okay.
In answer to your question, when we last checked in preparation for the hearing, there was nothing filed, and in his own testimony, he's stating that he hasn't filed anything yet. He's going to,
No,
Understood.
but that was supposed to be done at this hearing. And gentleman just doesn't understand that he's, even his own testimony, he's operating a business at his location.
No, I understand. Okay. I would tend to give you a longer period of continuance again to go through the rezoning or the variance process, but the fact is that you haven't
it's
done.
filed.
It is filed.
I'm giving him the money today.
Okay,
I'm
but
giving
you
him the
haven't
money
filed it. The gentleman is filing it for you?
on my behalf.
Okay, but
Yes.
as of right now, according to the county, there is no documentation on file saying that you have filed for your variance.
Well, if I'm giving him, it's got to be paid today by 4:00.
I understand, but you're turning in the paperwork and the payment today.
The paperwork's already turned in. He said what happens is they turn the paperwork in and then they want the money within 1 day. If not, then we got to redo the whole process over.
Right, so the transaction is not complete. So technically you're not in for your variance process yet.
It'll be in today.
It will be in today, but as of right now, it's not. So what I'm going to suggest is that we continue this for 30 days and then come back. And I hate to have you keep coming back,
That's,
but
hey, it is what
you
it
can
is.
continue to update through the process. And by that time, you should have a better understanding of the variance and the timeline associated with it. And then
And
we
I'll
can
have-
either rule and give you a timeline in which to complete with a fine, or we can, we can address it at that.
I don't want no fines, man. This is going to cost me thousands of dollars. Just please work with me.
Totally
I'm
understand.
trying to fix it. I'm going to call today about doing something with the containers. And as far as the business stuff, if I got to take it off the property, I got somebody else that I can take it to their property. So if that's what it needs to be, that's what I'll do. Some of that stuff is not mine. I've got a renter in the back. He has a truck and some trailers and different things too. So it's not all mine. Some of it is mine. So I don't
okay.
know that it makes any difference because he lives on the property too, but I didn't tell the judge that last time I was here, but I want to point that out that I do have a renter in the back that he does tree work as well and some other things. So he has some equipment, not trailers and a truck and what have you.
Okay. Well, I would suggest that you get with your renter and explain to them what's going on in regards to commercial vehicles on the property, those kind of things. The things that you can solve, I would suggest trying to solve
That's what we're going to do.
before you get through because the variance process obviously is going to take a little time. So
Yeah, I don't know
but,
how long.
at this point, I'm okay with continuing you for 30 days and then we'll have you come back and then you can reassess the situation.
Sounds good. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Sure. I move in case CE 200070026. Based on the evidence presented, I ask to continue the case for 30 days to the July 16th, 2021 hearing.
9:00.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next case, please.
Next case is on page 15 of your agenda, item 31. Case number CE 2000-6176, Patrick Stephen Connolly, and we have service.
Go ahead, officer. There you go.
Good morning. I am Officer Parker with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case is at 905 Orangery Avenue. It was initiated on April 30th, 2020. There were 3 conditions: overgrowth, inoperable vehicles, and a connected RV to the property. One of those conditions has been complied, the other 2 remain.
Communication with the owner?
No, sir. I tried 2 times, knocked on the door of the trailer and the home, and nobody ever answered.
And this case is outstanding from April of 2020?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I move in case CE 200061776, the base name is presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 30 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next case, please.
Next case is on page 1, item 1, case number CE 2000-3752. Mikhail Subiza and Martha Gaucho. And we have service. This case was continued from the May 18th hearing. Do you have the case summary?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you both raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please state your name and address for the record.
Macho Subisa on the
Speak in the mic, please.
Macho Subisa on the address Williams Spring and Williams Boulevard Road, Barrico Road.
What's your zip code?
Oh, the zip code 33596.
Ma'am,
Yes, good morning. Yes, it's between Spring and Williams.
please speak into the mic.
Yeah, it's between Spring and Williams Road.
Now, what is your name and
Martha Wasco,
address?
between Spring and Williams Road, and the zip code is 33596.
Do you recognize that photo as the property?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Donald K. Bowling, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This is a continuance granted by Magistrate Warden Area on 5/18/2021. As there was some confusion as to whether or not the respondents received permission from the county to build this fence improperly with the improper materials. I don't think they have a witness, but all that aside, just to bring you up to snuff, this is a complaint regarding a 6-foot fence with metal fencing, which is not allowed in Hillsborough County, that faces every right of way, which is also not allowed, fence zoning violations. It is my understanding that the respondents have cut one portion of the fencing down approximately to 4 feet, but still have the metal material. And again, the purpose of this continuance was to see if they could produce a witness from Hillsborough County that said this was proper.
Okay. And just for the code states based on that corner lot that one side of it has to be at 4 feet, the entire length.
Yes,
One can remain at 6, and then the materials are not allowed.
the materials, according to permission services, is not proper. That we've had other cases where this type of material was used and were adjudicated as being improper.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Good
I have
morning,
a
folks.
question.
What would you like to tell me?
Okay, when we started this project, we go to certify material place. You show me a couple of different material, and then it looking like a roofing material. But we're telling that material is properly to fence. They say yes, it's in Florida in Hillsborough County because we buy in Plant City in the company. We buy the material. So that material we make special for the fence. So you can see around the whole Florida is 1,000 and 1,000 and this kind of fence right now because it's like a kind of new thing you use it for fence. So my surprise when we install it, when we put everything, now that material is illegal. So we look in the internet, we're looking everywhere. Before we put it, we go to this person right here, and we show the page. So after we receive the first letter, we show the material. We show even I'm bringing the material personal, and then he told me I don't see any wrong with this material. Everything is looking fine. And that time we don't have permit for the house and the front. So that's why we build in 6 feet. Now we got it for 4 feet because we have a permit for the house. And by the law, it says we have to do it front to the house 4 feet. So we did it last week. And right now, I'm like we spent $25,000 on this material and this fence. And right now, I mean, I already spent money now to cut it. And the product we put is 6 feet. We clean it like a weekend last time. This property, we had the receipt, $15,000 and clean it, all the tires, all the material, his esposo, all the neighbor there. And then he robbed my boat, installing the motor. I had the record too, $25,000 more. So that way we closed this property. So now we have the
I'm sorry,
permits.
You have a moat?
Yes, we have a boat. You can see the
Oh, a
picture.
boat.
The
Okay.
boat.
I was like, I didn't see a moat in the picture. So, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so anyway, so now we try to fix it the right way. We try to work in within court because it's the law. I mean, we have to follow the law. Right now, I mean, yesterday we go out 2 days about the same company, sell the material, told me, I can give you the letters. That material is good for this fence. It's not roof, it's a special material for fence. I said, but they say the law, it says it's not required. How you sell it to me, something isn't legal. You know what I mean?
People are there.
Well, it sounds like you got some bad information from a vendor. So that unfortunately still falls on you. If I understand the case correctly, we did a continuance so that you could bring forward some sort of documentation or personnel to testify on your behalf. I see the business cards, but that doesn't qualify as somebody saying, yes, you're allowed to have that material.
Correct.
Do you have anything in writing, or do you have somebody with you here today that says that material is allowed in Hillsborough County as a fence?
No.
Okay, so this is where we are. So we've got to come up with a solution. So unfortunately, and you might have some legal recourse. I'm not a lawyer, so you'll have to figure that out in regards to the folks that told you that was allowed. But right now, we've got to get to the point where your fence is legal, and that would be removing it and installing a material that's acceptable and approved by the county. So based on that, how much time do you think you need in order to make that modification to put yourself into compliance?
He recommended to me get a special permit for this kind of situation. So I had to get more information, try to get the special permits to see if we can resolve the problem. So I need all this right now with the.
Yeah, because the thing is that, actually, I'm sorry, sir, it's because they say that there's no any exception on the codes for that fence. So that's why we want to know what is that when you say, we ask him, and the third is next to us, he say that just because one person didn't like it, they don't like it, that fence around the neighbor. So I think it's kind of unfair because you need to show me what is not allowed. That's why those persons, they say, I don't see anything they say about that specific fence.
Actually, the code is very specific about the materials that are allowed to be used for the fence, and you can find that online, and you can find that through development services. So there's quite a few avenues for you to be able to find out what is right. What we do know is what you have is incorrect. So we're trying to come up with a plan. Officer Bowling, is there a plan? Did you advise them in regards to a variance? Is that what they could do for them?
I advised them that they had really two shots. One is to redo the fence, or two, apply for a variance to see if the county would allow that material.
Okay. So understand that, and I'm sure he's explained it to you, the variance process, you have to pay, just like the folks that were here right before you. You have to go through a process and pay fees and an application and put it into the system and have them determine whether or not that's going to be allowed as an alternate.
No, I don't mind do that.
Okay.
But the only thing he do his job, everybody do his job. The only I'm not concerned, and is not saying anything, is I can bring 1,000 pictures right now, the same fence.
Let me stop you real quick. I totally understand. If you have concerns about other people's fence, there's a process for you. You can go online and you can submit a complaint and you can go through that process. But what other people are doing is not our issue today. Our issue is this particular property. What code enforcement does with other folks, if you want to tell them where the other ones are, they'll go out and take a look, and at some point they'll be right up here in front of me just like you are. But right now we're dealing with your case and your case alone, okay? So our options here are, I can give you a short continuance of 30
Yeah.
days. But
You can
within
give
that
me
30,
more because 30 days. I'm
one
sorry.
second, sir.
Okay.
Within that 30 days, you must complete a variance application and pay the fees in which to file it.
All right.
Unlike the gentleman that was here before.
All right.
Within 30 days, when you come back, you will have to have supplied documentation to us to say that you have applied for the variance. And then at that point, the folks that are, if it's me or somebody else that's here, can give you, guidance on the next phase, and you can update them on the process and your timeline. But within 30 days, you must apply for the variance, or you're going to have to, take it down and put up
All right.
another material. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. I rule in case CE 2000375 based on the evidence presented that we continue this to the 2003752 to the July 16th, 2021 hearing with the caveat that the landowners are going to return with documentation that they have submitted for a variance. So that'll put you on the clock, okay? And then after that, will be next steps. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Make sense?
Yep.
All right. Thanks for coming down. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next case, please.
Next case is on page 5, item 9. Case number CE 2000-6707, Victory Big Ben and 301 LLC, and we have service. Someone signed in for this? Or, they're virtual. Janice Orman? Can I see her?
Janice, are you there?
Hello.
I can't see her.
Yeah, that's because I was going for help and wouldn't unmute.
Ma'am, can
Okay, so I'm live
you
now.
raise your right hand, please?
Yes,
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Janice Orman, and the property address is 12959 US Highway 301 South, Riverview, Florida 33578.
That picture. Do you recognize that photo as the property?
Yes,
Thank you.
Donald K. Bowling, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This is a remaining compliance case for banner signs, non-permitted banner signs, and excessive signage. There are 2 cases in 2020, the first of which was for the same thing, first of which was complied, and then a very short time later, got a second complaint and was in violation again. That's the reason we're in a remaining compliance status. To my knowledge, the signs, which were banner signs and snipe signs and all manner of signs that exceeded the limits per frontage footage along the strip mall were still up until just prior to those pictures being taken. We got an email from the management saying that they had complied and expected the case to be dropped, and we're not. We want to remain in compliance. We've had numerous complaints from neighboring businesses about the signage here, and that's all we're asking for is a remain in compliance order.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Janice, anything you'd like to add?
oh, yes. It's our understanding, we were told by a code enforcement officer a few years ago that the feather type banners were permitted. He had actually at a different property, he made us take them all down. People threw them away, everything, all our tenants. And then he came back maybe 4 or 5 hours later and apologized that he said the feather signs are the only signs that do not require a permit. Now, I was trying to get a hold of Mr. Bowling, who did not return my phone call, did not return my emails. I had to get the name of his supervisor to get a response from Mr. Bowling. In that time, when I called the main office for the code enforcement office, I was told by Charlene, who answered the phone, that first she said the feather banners were not allowed. And then as I continued talking, she looked and she says, "Oh my, you are right. The feather banners are permitted. They just can't be on the right of way." I brought that up to Miss Wayman, and she said that she would send me the county ordinance, and that never got sent. So we really feel that we're targeted. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the area, but this is on 301, just short of Big Bend Road, where development is going up there, around there, like massive amounts of construction are going up. Everybody has the feather flags. I don't know why we're being targeted. We feel like we're being targeted when if it's no good for us, then all those companies that are around us should also have to take their feather banners out.
Ms. Janice, let me, and you might have been listening about my previous case. So I totally understand your concern and frustration in regards to other landowners doing something that you think you should be allowed to do. However, we're here today to talk about your property and your property only. If you have concerns in regards to other properties and other people that are doing what you are think in your mind are not being allowed to do, then you're more than welcome to call code enforcement, reach out and let them know about these properties, and they'll go out and investigate them as well. Okay?
I understand, but the main problem.
No, let me address, hold on one second. Let me address the second part of your question, because we've got the entire brain trust right here. So we can get Mr. Carmine to verify for us what is and isn't allowed according to the code in regards to your feather signs. And then we can have that addressed right now so that you know for a future reference before I rule in regards to what is and isn't allowed on your property. Okay. And I do know exactly where you are. I live in that area, so I'm very familiar with the property. So I spend my family spends a lot of time at Fred's. So I totally understand.
Okay.
Carmine,
thank you.
What can you tell us?
I was in the process of bringing it up to speak with specifically. I don't have pictures of all the signs that are there. I know there are multiple signs. There are some banner signs that are permissible. I don't know. I can tell you that there was testimony of snipe signs. Snipe signs, as we all aware of, are not permissible.
And if the property is already at their exceedable limit of allowable square footage of signage based on the frontage that you have, even if it was allowed, it wouldn't be allowed due to capacity, correct?
That's correct. There's only so many signs permissible. And I could see from the photographs that each business has a sign on the business wall itself. There was an exemption for allowing for temporary signs until those signs are erected and it's obvious that they are there. So any other signs of any other nature that are placed out there of temporary signs are not permissible.
So in that case, Ms. Janice, it's highly likely that the combination of your wall signage for each of the tenants combined with the pylon signage that you have out front exceeds the amount, or is the maximum amount of signage allowed for the property based on the multi-tenant use. Therefore, any additional signs is probably what's causing the violation. So,
also, any banner signs requires a permit. It's very clear in the ordinance.
Okay.
There's no equivocation on that. And yes, are there a lot of banner signs in Hillsborough County? Sure are. Do we have enough code enforcement officers to take care of every one of those banner signs? Nope. It's very simple. This was a complaint and from a citizen, a reputable person, and we received numerous complaints about this particular property, and those complaints were verified.
Thank you. Ms. Janice, I would suggest that if you are looking for additional signage in the future, if you run that through the permitting department, they can pull it up and give you the ability to apply for a permit and have that as a permanent mainstay for your tenants at your property. But that sounds like the most direct way to make sure that you're in compliance. And what they're asking for today, my understanding is the client is currently in compliance, and we are just asking for a remain in compliance so that this doesn't come around again.
Well, when we were first notified about being out of compliance or in violation, we took the signs down except for the feather signs. I don't know what a snipe sign is, but I just can't address that. But everybody took the signs on, all the tenants took their signs down. This was in the height of the pandemic, and these tenants were having a hard time functioning. They all remained viable, and they're doing a lot better today. But back in May and June of 2020, they were struggling. So I don't understand why some leniency wasn't given for the excess signage. We found out that we couldn't have those. We found out we couldn't have the feather banners. We took them all down. So we're in compliance, and I don't understand why our fingers essentially should be slapped for taking down one set of signs but leaving the others. And we only left the others based on information that was given us by two different code employees.
I totally understand the confusion there. The good news is that we're coming out of the pandemic and those small businesses are thriving again. So I'm thankful for that. And we can only go by what the code is requiring. And right now you're in compliance. So my order is just going to be to please stay in compliance. There's no penalty or fines associated with that. And I appreciate the time of you coming online and explaining that to us today.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I move in case CE 2000707. That based on the evidence presented, I find the property was in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances and listed in staff's presentation. Further, that the property is now in compliance with this code provision. I order that it remain in compliance with this code provision. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Next case is on page 6, item 11, case number CE 2000-7388, William A. Floyd, and we have service.
William Floyd.
Sir, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Name and address, please.
William Floyd,
Please speak into the mic.
2811 South County Line Road, Van City, 335.
Your name again, I'm sorry.
What was that?
Speak into the mic, your name.
William Floyd.
Thank you. Do you recognize that photo as the
Yes.
property? Thank you.
Donald K. Bowling, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case was initiated on 5/19/2020. It was a referral from the fire department due to a fire on part of the property. There were other violations that have since been complied. The remaining violations after 5 visits is accumulation in inoperable vehicles.
And is the date correct? We've been there 5 times since June the 1st?
Sir?
We've been there 5 times since June 1st?
The 5 times was the initial visit. Actually, this was referred a second time, but due to COVID, everything was put off. So there was a second visit that referred it, third visit for the PowerPoint presentation, and fourth visit to refer it again. And of course, the last visit was on 6/1/2021.
Okay, what was the date of the initial violation?
The date on initial violation is 5/19/2020.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Flory, what would you like to tell me?
I've got most of the stuff cleaned up. It's pretty vague when he says junk can mean one thing to one person and something else to somebody else. So it doesn't make it very clear what I'm supposed to remove.
Okay. Well, I'm sure Mr. Bowling would be happy to come out and take a look and verify that with you. If you're close to being done and you're not completely done, do you need more?
Yeah, I need some time.
How much time would you?
I don't know what I need to move.
I see. Okay. Well, we have a cart and a horse. So Do you think 30 days is sufficient? I don't see a life safety issue here, Mr. Bowling. Do you? Is there a life safety issue with any of the?
There's maybe 45 days.
Oh, okay. We might have a few more things that
The extent of it, it's gonna
might take some time. Okay.
There was 3 items listed and none of them are that big of a deal.
Okay.
But I don't know what exactly he's talking about.
Well, we'll have Mr. Bowling come back out there, obviously before 45 days and have a conversation with you and show you exactly what needs to go. And that way you've got plenty of time to make that work. As 45 days work for you?
All right.
Okay, fantastic.
I
I
don't
rule
have
in
to come back
case,
here again, do I?
I'm sorry?
I don't have to come back here again.
If it's complete and complied, Mr. Bowling can check that off and then you're done. Yes, sir, complete. I rule in case CE 2007388, the basis of the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 45 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $100 per day be assessed. So, sir, you have 45 days. Be sure to get with Mr. Bowling early so he can come out. He'll give you his card and you can verify, and then you'll have some time to make sure that's done before the actual time expires. Okay? And now you got his direct number. Thank you for coming out. Next case, please.
Next case is on page 11. Item 21, case number CE 2000-3489. J&L Corporate Holdings Incorporated, and we have service. And we have someone that, yes, there you go. Can you please raise your right hand? Both of you, if you're going to, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please each of you state your name and address for the record.
I'm Luann Bergeron. Property address is 337 West US Highway 92, Seffner, Florida, 33584.
What is your relationship to this case?
I inherited half of the property after my husband was deceased.
Okay, sir?
James Guilford, 337 US Highway 92, Weston, Seffner, 33584.
And your relationship to this case?
Property owner?
Thank you.
Good morning, officer.
Good morning, Charles Harwell, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement.
Excuse me. Do you recognize that photo as the property?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, Charles Harwell, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case originated on March 10th of 2020. Is tenant occupied, home is not in foreclosure. There's no life safety issues. There was 4 violations cited: improper use / occupancy of the public right of way, improper use of zone, accumulation and inoperable vehicles. There was a previous case, CE 19008933. Board order dated was 11/1 of 2019. And of that case, improper use, occupancy of the public right of way, and improper use of zone was heard. So the reason we're here, as you can see the later photos, the violations have been complied. But initially, there was U-Hauls in the right of way. It was public. It was a drop off for U-Hauls business. And then they were storing vehicles on the property as well as doing automotive work, which is against the CG zoning. So, and then later in the case history, it was just inoperable vehicles and accumulations. And those have since been complied right about the time of this notice. So the reason we're here is because of requesting a remaining compliance order based on the previous case, and it's a repeat violator.
The items that are considered repeat violations are just improper use of zone and improper use of zone public right of way. The accumulations is not a repeat? No, sir. Or the inoperable vehicles. Okay. And accumulations and inop has been complied? Yes, sir. Everything's been complied as you can see. Everything's been complied. Photos. Okay. So improper use of zone in regards to using the facility for vehicle repair? Well, it's zone CG, so that's, I don't know how to explain that. Well, they couldn't use it for what they were doing as far as automotive repair, and as a U-Haul place, it's not allowed. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Understand. Thank you. Okay, folks, online, what would you like to tell me?
Well, it's all cleaned up and we're putting the property up for sale.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Can't operate business there, so might as well sell it.
Totally understand. So you don't need any time to do anything. We can have a pretty quick turn to have him come out and take a look.
Charles has already gone out there and taken pictures.
Okay. All right. And we're asking for a repeat violator as well? Okay. Okay. I rule in case CE 200034889 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is again in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation and of the previous order dated 11/1/2019. This constitutes a repeat violation as defined in Florida statutes. Further, I grant 7 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $150 a day be assessed. Additionally, a fine of $150 per day per occurrence be imposed for any repeat violations after compliance is achieved.
Can I just ask a question, Charles? Is it not in compliance right now?
It is. I'll just come out in 7 days like he's directed. It'll remain the same. It'll be.
It's just part of the order. He'll
Yeah.
come out and look at it. That's why I left it with a short turn, so we can get that done and get it off his list.
Great, thank you so very much.
Awesome. Thank you for staying online. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
Next case, please.
Page 12, item 23, case number CE 207821, TAH 2017-2, Borough LLC, and we have service. Come forward if you signed up for this case. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please, each of you state your name and address for the record.
Maximilian Zelaya, 9510 Putney Hill Court, Tampa, Florida, 33615.
And your relationship to this case?
Renter.
Ma'am?
Brenia Dubuque, 9510 Putney Hill Court, 33615, tenant.
I'm
Do you
sorry.
recognize that
Have your
photo
name
as?
again?
Brenia Dubuque.
Thank you.
Do you recognize that photo as the property?
Yep.
Thank you.
Go ahead, officer.
Christopher Bishop with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. The property in violation is 9510 Putney Hill Court. First inspection was 28 May 2020. Last inspection was 1 June 2021. Property is cited for accumulations. The property is somewhat cleaned up now, but if you slide down the further slides, they just, looks like they bring junk there all the time. That's 9 September, that's 6 October.
Okay, folks, what would you like to tell me?
Okay, first off, that right there, that picture, that is my vehicle. So I have a bicycle. I don't drive a car. I have a bicycle with a trailer. So everyone, anytime you want to say that that's junk, that is actually my trailer. That is my car with my, that right there is from what date? So that's all cleaned up. Okay.
Okay.
There's nothing, and we have pictures we sent to our rental company, because we don't, and every time we get a violation or whatever, every time somebody comes out, they don't actually tell us about it. So that's October 6, 2020. We are now, I empty the whole front yard. I don't, because nobody tells us exactly like the other guy. We don't know exactly what you guys keep coming out and saying that we're in violation of. So we're like, hey, what is that? And actually, I mentioned that to the last time. So the only time we've gotten a notice was a year ago. And then just now when we got this notice to come to this court hearing. And then it shows that they've been out a bunch of times. But nobody comes out and says, hey, we need you to pick this up and pick that up. And again, he says, junk. Well, you know, I fix bikes or whatever. All I do is I hang out in my house, staying COVID safe. And I have a bicycle and I ride my bicycle everywhere. She drives, that's her car, her vehicle. Okay. So, I mean, like I said.
We also tried to reach out to Mr. Bishop a couple of times via email and voicemail as well to try to figure out what was exactly in violation so we could remedy it, because we thought we had fixed it the first time. We paid to have a trailer come out. We junked a bunch of stuff. I also had some handymen come out a month ago to help out again after we got this notice for the hearing, and we did not hear anything back. So we were having a hard time really figuring out why we were in violation.
Like,
I've actually spoken to her in person before.
Yes.
I've also left numerous notices on the door. I've explained in detail what need to be cleaned up. What they do is they clean up, then we go away, they make a mess again, clean up, we go away, make a mess again.
So you have a pretty good understanding in regards to what material is visible from the street is. I mean, I'm looking at a picture, not this picture from September, obviously, and COVID was involved in that too. Obviously, this is taking some time to get you here, and I totally understand that. But I mean, you've got materials on the side of the house. This picture here is from.
What's on top of my? That's my bike. That's my bike wheel. I took off my bike because I had a flat tire and I had to change out my bike. So I put it on top of my shed in the back. So I'm sorry if it's on top of my shed above the.
That's okay.
No, I'm saying I don't that's what I'm saying. Nobody's giving me clear direction.
Right, absolutely. And you can tell by that picture there that obviously somebody can see that from the road.
My backyard.
And the perception is that is materials that needs to be removed.
Okay, so that's fine. But
I would strongly suggest that you don't put your bike on top of the shed. That's probably a great start.
It's just a wheel.
Your bike wheel on top of the shed. So totally understand. So in regards to the materials inside the house, I saw a picture from June. That's all gone. So we understand exactly what needs to be done in regards to accumulations, right? So.
As far as we're aware, everything's been remedied.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just do a short turn to have the officer come back out. He's going to take a look, and if it's not, then he'll tell you exactly specifically what is. So when he comes to the door or introduces himself, and I'm sure he'll give you a card or whatever. It sounds like you guys have already been in contact before, so he'll review that with you. And if he's there and something's out of line, he'll let you know. But the idea here is to try to keep it that way, right? You don't want to come back. You look like a lovely couple. I enjoy seeing you, but I don't want to see you in this environment again. So we're gonna try to get this cleaned up and stay cleaned up. Okay.
And I cleared everything out. And I'm just want to say, I cleared everything out. My biggest thing is not one. I stay at home. I'm a stay-at-home person.
Sure.
Dad, if you want to call it.
Understand.
I don't hear the knocks. I've only seen one thing on the door ever. Okay. And that was from my rental company. So there's miscommunication here. If she's talked to him one time in over a year, they showed like 9 different times they've been in our house and taking pictures. Well, we would like to know that you're coming to my house, taking pictures of it. Please knock on my door. Let me know, hey, this is what's wrong.
Totally understand. And just in rebut to that, they don't have to call you and tell you when they're coming to take pictures. If we do that, then everybody puts everything in their garage. Then tomorrow they move it back outside. So that's not the intent there. I understand your concern and frustration. However, we're all working to do the best that we can and try to be better every day. So that's the theory we're going to go with moving forward. So I'm going to do a short turn that he's going to come out and take a look at it. And then I just ask that you try to keep it cleaned up as best as you can.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I rule in case CE 20007821 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 14 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $100 per day be assessed. So sometime in the next 2 weeks, he'll give you a call, come out and take a look. Okay. Thank you very much. Next case, please.
Next case is on page 12, item 24, case number CE 2000-9189, Wanda Yvette Figueroa Sanchez, and we have service. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Joshua Garcia, 134 Newbury Drive.
And what is your relationship to this case?
I'm her son.
Ma'am?
Tu nombre y...
Wanda Figueroa, 134 Newbury Drive, Tampa, Florida, 33615.
Do you recognize that photo as the property?
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Christopher Bishop, the Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Property in violation is 134 Newbury Drive. First inspection was on 22 June 2020. My last inspection was 1 June 2021. Property is cited for excessive dwellings. They've split the mobile home up and added to it. So that's one, and then there's 2 different units on the backside.
They've built out the carport as an additional residence?
Yes.
Or down the back?
That's the left side now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right side. So
Okay.
it's essentially a triple wide.
Understand. Okay. All right, Josh, are you going to be translating for your mom?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. So what would you like to tell me?
So when we bought the house, it was actually divided on the other side, on the left, on the left side. And we had 6 people, my whole family living there. And it had a wall and we broke it down and we bolted the door until they all left. And it's just me and my mom now. And then there was a room there, like a storage room. I got a picture of it because it's just old. And when the storm came, it actually knocked it all down. So she just decided to make another room that wasn't opened because the other room was like made out of plastic and fences. And that's really much it. When they all left, it's just me and her, there's nobody else living there. It's just me and her.
Okay. Officer, in regards to the excessive dwelling, to remedy the situation, they need to remove the wall, or that needs to be an open door, or what's the?
You have to be able to access the whole house without having to go outside to access another room.
Okay.
So basically needs to have a hallway. So I can go from one room to the next without having to go outside to the other room.
So they have to make modifications to their trailer to be able to access that room from the inside?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they can retain what they have if they make that modification?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that make sense what the officer, go ahead, there's something else your mom wanted to add?
Yeah, to go to every room, we have doors.
You have interior doors that go into that space?
The other room.
Okay.
Yeah, she has photos if you want. Like, we have.
Sure,
doors
I'd
that go
love
the
to
other-
see them. Absolutely. And keep in mind, once she gives them, are they on your phone? Oh, then I have to keep your phone. So that might not work. Can we show them?
Yeah, technically.
We can't take the phone.
Is it a nice phone?
iPhone 6, right?
Ooh, okay. I don't know.
They need that. We need that.
Can you be on?
So officer, in that case, if they have interior access to that space, they could remove the door and enclose that and that would
No,
still.
they have doors to the room. It's like in your house, you have doors to the room.
Mhm.
But now if you cut off the hallway and you can't access that room unless you go outside.
Right, but I think what she's saying is, I don't know, we'll see by the pictures, but if she has access to that through her mobile home.
Then
as
she's
a-
fine.
As a door.
Yeah, then she's fine. Because before that first unit right there was closed off to the rest of the mobile home and they had tenants living in there.
Okay.
Actually, I took a video of the whole house if you want to see it.
A la cocina también. Pero la cocina de
Oh, thank you. I'll slide the other way.
Ponlo.
Pero pusiste que se ve la cocina.
Ponlo. No, ponlo.
That's the door that we see from the exterior? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so the outstanding issue here is that you can't have more than one dwelling, right? It has to be one single residence. So if you're saying that that's what that is, and you just have an exterior door to the interior space, then I'll just rule and have them come out and inspect and take a look and make sure that that's correct. And then if not, then there'll be fines associated with that. Does that make sense? We'll have to step over there so I can get your response, because I have to have that on the record. The young ladies downtown get upset if people say things and they don't hear it on the microphone.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay with that.
Okay, fantastic. Officer, any questions or concerns?
No.
Okay. I rule in case CE 200091189 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances staff presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 21 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $150 a day be assessed. So sometime in the next couple of weeks, he'll come out, he'll go through it with you, make sure that there are no excessive dwellings, and that's all part of the interior space, and then you'll be good to go.
Thank you.
All right? Thank you very much. Next case, please.
Next case is on page 14, item 28, case number CE 2000-8988, Maureen Koger, and we have service. Ma'am, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Maureen Koger, 7505 Meadow Drive, Tampa, Florida, 33634-2935.
Thank you. And do you recognize that photo as the property?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Jose Reyes, Hillsborough County Code Officer. I inspected the property at 7505 Meadow Drive on June 15th of 2020, at which time it was owner occupied. The following violations were noted: overgrowth of the rear yard. Unfortunately, there's no photo at the time of my inspection. Ms. Koger said, yeah, that the rear yard was overgrown, but she wouldn't allow access to the rear yard. I've made several follow-ups. The issue still remains. She called on the 8th of June and told me to go by yesterday. It would be done, and that I could look through the hole in the fence, and it was still overgrown. She called me back, and it was basically a heated phone call, and I told her all she has to do is mow the back. She said something about, well, she couldn't burn it. I said she doesn't have to burn it. She can just mow it, and that's where we're at. All she has to do is mow that backyard, and good to go.
Okay. Ms. Maureen, before you get started, can you pull that mic down for me so you don't have to go on your tippy toes every time? There you go.
You're right.
What can you tell me?
Okay. We went through this last year with Jose Reyes. I did it last year. I cleaned it up. This year with the virus and stuff, tired, whatever. I explained to him yesterday, it will be done before this court date. What he had to understand is that grass is dead, completely dead. With the wind, I explained to him yesterday, you cannot burn that grass because of the wind. It'll cause a fire. It's all on the news. And I told him, I said, if you come here at 9 o'clock, I'll show you that I trimmed all the way around. I trimmed all the good grass to green. And I left the dead grass there. So that way it's no mowing it. It's just, when I rake, whatever I raked up, I put it all in a pile. And I can't burn it. Or some dead grass is still there, but I trimmed all the way around so I could walk around it and bring it all together in piles. No, I am not gonna burn it, but I'll have to pick it up. I told him, if you come at 9 o'clock, because I got things to do, He did not come at 9 o'clock because I had my garage door open, that garage door open. So he could come through that area there, through that door that's to the garage around it, so you see what I did. Made some progress. If you don't get here at 9 o'clock and then you call me after, it's because I keep the time that he called me and everything. I pay attention to the news. I ain't trying to burn my house down.
Ma'am, let me stop you real quick. No, nobody's asking you to burn anything, okay?
No, I'm
So,
just saying, I'm just.
Ms. Marine, give me an opportunity to speak, please. Nobody's asking you to burn.
Okay.
I've given you the opportunity to speak. I'd appreciate the respect back, ma'am. Is that okay? I think
got
I've
you.
earned it.
I got you.
What I'm saying is nobody at any time has asked you to burn anything. And I understand that your time is precious. So is mine and so is the officers. So I'm going to give you, I think you need an opportunity to coordinate with him. If you're telling me that it's completely done, that everything is weed whacked and based on your, ma'am, based on your testimony, you told me that you weed whacked around the outside so that you could walk around. That tells me that whatever's in the middle probably is not complete yet. So if it's, is it your testimony that as of this morning, right now as we sit here, that it is completely done? It's all done. Everything is.
Tell him it was completely done.
That's all I'm asking.
No.
Is it completely done?
No.
How much time will it take for you to complete the cutting of the backyard?
A couple of days.
Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. This particular case has been going on since June of 2020. So to be able to maintain your lawn for the sake of your neighbors as well is something that you have to do on a regular basis. So
when he came out last year, I completed it. Okay.
Have you done it since he came out last year?
Because hello, I had things to do.
Well, we all have things to do, ma'am, but that is your responsibility as a property
So
owner.
when he did give me the paperwork, I said I would go back out there and do what I got to do.
Fantastic. You need 3 days to get it completed?
That'll be done. That's enough for me.
Fantastic. So I'll rule for that. He'll come back out and he'll reinspect it. You have to give him access to do that. Otherwise, he's
Ms. Marine, please, one more time now.
you have to give him access to inspect that, make sure that it's done. If it's done, then you're done.
Of course.
It's very simple. Okay? Okay. I rule in case CE 2000898 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County Codes of Ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history, I grant 3 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by the date of $500 per day be assessed. You have 3 days, ma'am.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. It was $500 per day. Thank you. Next case, please.
Next case is page 14, item 29, case number CE 2000-9207, Deshaun D. Monk. And we have service.
Jose, you're up again.
There was somebody that signed up for this? Is there Brian Cummings that signed up for this case? Sir, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Brian Cummings, 7234 Bellingham Oaks Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, 33634.
And your relationship to this case.
I am the renter of the property.
Do you recognize that photo as the property?
I do.
Thank you.
Jose Reyes, Hillsborough County Code Officer. I inspected the property located at 7234 Bellingham Oaks on June 17th of 2020. At the time, it was tenant occupied, not in foreclosure. The following violations were noted. Accumulations, he had some appliances and stuff out by the garage. They were complied on 7/2 of 20, and we're just asking for remaining compliance. I've cited the property a couple of times, so it's just a remaining compliance.
Okay, Brian, what would you like to add?
I don't think I was ever in violation. I did have a washer and dryer placed out front, was probably there for less than an hour.
Timing is everything.
It is. It really is. I do have somebody in the neighborhood who I guess just doesn't get along with me for whatever reason. And as soon as I put it out there, probably contacted Mr. Reyes to get over there as quick as possible. If there were, I mean, an hour, I mean, what's the ruling on accumulation? I mean, I think accumulation stands for something that accumulates over time. I don't think an hour, it really refers to accumulation.
I totally understand. Unfortunately, we're taking pictures in moments in time, so.
Okay.
I
Can I
understand
view
where
these
we are, but-
pictures that we have?
Well, the pictures that are shown, I mean, when the officer comes by and takes pictures, that's obviously that moment in time that we're dealing with. But my understanding of testimony from the officer is that you're currently in compliance. So there aren't any issues. All they're asking for from me today is a ruling to ask you to stay in compliance. And to me, from based on your testimony, that sounds like exactly what you want to do. So any concerns with staying in compliance and keeping an eye on the accumulations?
Again, I mean, I haven't had an accumulation, so continuance to stay in compliance is therefore not needed. I mean, that's just where I stand on the matter.
I totally understand. However, the officer's been out several times, so that's how I'm going to rule. But there aren't any fines or anything associated with that. Just politely asking that you stay in compliance.
Okay. Yeah, I really only showed up today just to see how this whole thing works.
Well, I appreciate that.
Mr. Reyes is a very nice gentleman and is, easy to deal with. So
Fantastic. I appreciate that. And I'm sure he does too, based on the last case. So Thank you very much. I rule in case CE 200092007 that based on the evidence presented, I find that the property was in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, I find the property is now in compliance with this code provision in order that it remain in code compliance with this code provision. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming down.
Yes, sir.
Have a great weekend.
Next case is item 30, case number CE 200-10044, the estate of Clovella Burnett, and we have service. Sir, raise your right hand. And can you please pull up your mask? Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your name and address for the record.
Jeffrey A. Clark, 4503 West Minnehaha Street.
Do you
Tampa, Florida, 33614.
Do you recognize the photo as the property?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Jose Reyes, Hillsborough County.
One second, officer. And sir, in your relationship to the property is?
It was originally my mother's home, and she passed away 2 years ago. And she meant to leave the house to me, but her will was never filed. So me and my 3 siblings own this house.
Okay, so you're part owner.
Yeah.
Understand. Thank you. Go ahead, officer.
Jose Reyes, Hillsborough County Code Officer. I inspected the property located at 4503 Minnehaha on July 8, 2020. At the time it was occupied, not in foreclosure. The following violations were noted: overgrowth, which was complied on May 27th of this year, and accumulations. The accumulations still remain. There was a whole lot more than that, but he's made some progress and just needs a little more time to finish it up.
Okay, terrific. Mr. Clark, what'd you like to add to that?
I just wanted to ask maybe for 30 days, and this will all be taken care of.
Okay. I don't see any life safety issues here, so we're okay with that? Yeah, that's fantastic. Tell you what, it's Friday, so I'll do 45. How's that?
Thank you very much.
I move in case CE 200100044 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances as listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the crime of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, I grant 45 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $100 per day be assessed. You have 45 days, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Next case, please.
Next case is on page 15, item 32, case number CE 2000-7616. Okay, I'm going to have difficulty with this. Tong Fat and Denise Nguyen Revocable Trust, and we have service. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state, each of you state your name and address for the record.
Dim Vu, it's regarding 8414 North Grady Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33614.
And what is your relationship to this case?
I'm the property manager.
Ma'am?
Oh.
Yeah, you could make her go over there and bring the mic down.
Yes,
Name and address, please.
Denise Nguyen, 861, oh, is here. 8414,
Your mailing address, the address which you live at. If you don't live at this address, the address that you live at.
California. Yeah. 8160 Rendon City, Elk Grove, 95624.
Do you recognize that photo as the property?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, officer.
Yes, Officer Michael Smoke, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. And I responded to the address of 8414 North Grady Avenue in response to a complaint about commercial vehicles that were on the property. I noticed that in the complaint, the complaint actually stated, quote, "Commercial trucks are back," end quote. Upon arrival the first time, I did not find any vehicles on the property. But I scheduled a reinspection, and on the second trip to the property on June the 2nd, 2020, I found a Ford F-350 commercial box truck parked on the property. Took the photographs and had a notice of violation issued. Because of the comments that were in the initial complaint, I did a history check on the property and found two other situations, two other times where complaints were filed on commercial vehicles on the property that were substantiated, one in 2017, one in 2019. Both of those cases were complied. Because of that, I requested that the case go forward to the code board. I did a recheck on the property on June 11th of 2020 and found that the truck had been removed just like the other previous times. Because I requested it go to code board, the case remained in a pre-CEB status, and I was sent out to the property on 2/25 of 2021 to conduct a follow-up inspection. At that time, I found two commercial box trucks on the property. And at that time, I kept the case in the CEB status so it could come before the code board.
Upon your reinspection in February, were they, looks like they might have been different vehicles? They were different trucks than the first violation, or are they the same vehicle?
They're different vehicles.
Okay.
In one case in 2017 was inspection conducted by Officer Pereira. He found 5 semi-tractors on the property.
Oh, okay. Well, we're changing it up. Okay, excellent. Sir, what would you like to tell us?
Okay, so as far as what we have here, it says June 12, 2020, it remained in compliance. Now, I believe after that, I had a phone conversation with, Mr. Smoke, and I guess that's the issue. But regardless, we understand that this is not acceptable. And I spoke to the tenants a few times. I even had them sign, stating that they they know that these trucks cannot be parked there. And at times, I know Mr. Smoke will come out, see it, and then a couple of days later be gone. You know, we want to work with, of course, the county and everything and make it right. And they're aware of this. So we're going to continue to, you know, try to keep everything in compliance. You know, we you know, like you said, everybody's time is important, yours is and ours. You know, I don't want to come to court for myself or anyone else. So, I mean, as far as this is all we have here, but they are aware. And I don't know if this is possible, but in the future, anytime if Mr. Smoke drives by and sees something, if he's able to text me, I can get out there right away. But they are aware, you know, so we as, you know, property managers and the landlord want to be in compliance, but, you know, dealing with the tenants, you know.
Oh, sure. Totally understand.
So,
do we have the ability to update the records to reflect the property manager and their contact information instead of, I'm assuming we initially posted at the property for the tenant. So can we get that contact information so that's a quick return for them?
I mean, it could be noted in the case, but it would require a future case officer to go back to the previous case to note it. But I think we can put a note in the address.
Let's try to do that and make sure that we have their contact information and things so that when this property does come back up again, because I understand a tenant and how that works. So we can be more reactive quicker for them to do that, because obviously you've addressed it with your tenant the best that you can. I'm sure there aren't any trucks there right now. They're probably going to come back. But after this status, you're going to be, you know, after I rule on this, next time you come back, then it'll be considered a repeat offender, or then, you know, then there are more fines added and things. I don't want you to get into that position either. So
right. Yeah. So anytime I receive something, I guess I spoke to Mr. Smoke before. It's just the last two times that I called him. I didn't get a call back, so it wasn't successful. I know he's busy, and I know he has a lot of case. And one occasion I did speak with the tenant, you know, one time they said, oh, it broke down, so it was just there a couple of days to repair it. I said, no, that's unacceptable. If you need to repair it, it has to be in the shop. It cannot be on the property. So, you know, we're doing all we can. I understand. Of course, like I said, if I can get a text, I'll be right out there. Call them, text them. I'll be right out there, take pictures, get on it.
okay. Well, offline, I'll have you get with the officer. He's going to come out obviously and re-inspect the property. So he'll be in communication with you. Make sure you give him your contact information. You can add that to the record, and hopefully that helps us quicker turn for you to address your tenant. And I appreciate you being proactive with it.
Oh, absolutely. And I have his number. I'm pretty sure he has mine, but I know he has thousands of numbers. And, you know, I understand. So
his contact database is much larger than mine.
Exactly. Yeah. So
no problem. Okay. Now, is there anything that you'd like to add? I know you were trying to sneak in there. You're good? Okay.
She's just concerned about the fines.
Oh, she's just here for moral support?
No, she's concerned about the fines because ultimately she has to pay for it. So
gotcha. I understand. No problem. I rule in case CE 2007616 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County Codes of Ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on granted violation, the actions taken by the violator and violator's history, I grant 10 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $150 per day be assessed. So 10 days, he'll get with you and go back by and make sure that it's complied. If it's complied, then we're good. Otherwise, the fines would start running.
And we'll do our best to, you know, maintain it.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming down. Thank you.
That's everybody in the audience. So we go to the beginning of the agenda. You got to say your little spiel.
Seeing that no one is present in the audience for the remaining cases on the agenda, I will now review the case materials previously provided by county staff. And if I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County Codes or Ordinance listed in staff's presentation, my ruling in each case will be based on the evidence presented, on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history, and determining the amount of the fine that will be assessed. I will grant X number of days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved on that date, a fine of X dollars per day be assessed.
Next case is on page 2, item 3, case number CE 190175521, Mildred Basie. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning, Eric Tyne, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Property in question is 209 4th Ave Southwest, Ruskin, Florida. Property is owned by Mildred Basie. This vacant property was first inspected on November 15th, 2019, based on a complaint of a collapsed shed. The inspection found that the collapsed shed was on the property, but that violation was found to be accruing fines of $250 per day and had been doing so since February 22nd of 2019 as a result of a prior adjudication, including that violation, additional accumulations, and the boarded up windows. The new violation cited on this date consisted of overgrowth, a square hole cut in the exterior wall, and graffiti sprayed on the exterior of the building. Multiple inspections throughout 2020 and early 2021, including the last inspection on May 27th, 2021, found the condition of the property is unchanged, remains in violation, and we've had no contact with the owner.
There's a previous, I'm sorry, there's a previous case and it's
These are
currently
new,
outstanding, but it doesn't associate with either of these items that we're bringing today?
that's correct. There is a case in fine run. These are new violations that are not included in that case.
Okay, understand. I rule based on the evidence presented that I find the property was in violation of Hillsborough, I'm sorry, wrong one. I grant 21 days to come into compliance. Compliance not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4, case number CE 2026-95. This case was pulled for staff on June 2nd. Page 3, item 5, case number CE 2010-75. Manvela Contreras. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning, Mr. Sweeney.
Good morning, sir. Dennis Sweeney, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This property came to us through Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department with concerns of major issues on this property. Property is zoned RSC 6. It is owned by Miss Contreras. The property is not in foreclosure. However, this property, the initial inspection date of this property was January 23rd, 2020. Upon my site visit, accumulations, inoperable vehicles, improper use of zone due to mechanical work being done at location, outside open storage due to a truck body box on location, and commercial vehicle, again with the truck body box. I made a site visit on May 27, 2020, whereas Ms. Contreras' daughter spoke on behalf of her mother, but her mother signed a consent to enter form. Conditions remained at that time, and the conditions continue to remain as of today due to no contact that any of these conditions were abated.
When was the contact with the daughter? Have you had any contact since?
There's been contact since, but only phone conversation that she's aware of the meeting.
I understand. And based on the gravity of the amount of materials and things to be removed, that looks like a significant.
It's a lot better than what it was in the initial visit, but however, there's still some problems.
Okay. Life safety concerns at all?
Not that is the immediate life safety or anything.
Okay. I grant 45 days to come to compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
Item 6, case number CE 2019-91. This case was pulled for staff as of today. Page 4, item 7, case number CE 200-12792, John Hupp. And we have service and no one is present.
Dennis Sweeney, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case came to us in August 21st, 2020. Officer Rowan actually initiated the case at the time. Neighbors are complaining that the property owner is allowing a person to store food items, boxes, and various items that she stores for homeless folks. Unfortunately, all of these items are stored out in the open. A lot of this stuff will bring rodents and other, nuisances. The owner has been served by posting of the notice to appear. But some of the cleanup's been done, but we're still the neighbors are still facing these kind of conditions next door to them.
And this is consistently ongoing since August of 2020?
Yes.
Okay. I grant 30 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved, but the date of fine of $100 per day be assessed.
Next case is item 8, case number CE 2000-0917, Kim A. Hanner. We have service and no one is present.
Donald K. Bowling, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case was initiated on 2020, excuse me. There were 4 visits to the property, the last being on 6/1/2020. Property is still overgrown, though not severely. This was a posting and I've had no contact with the owner.
I grant 21 days to come into compliance. I'm sorry. I grant 14 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $150 per day be assessed.
Page 5, item 10, case number CE 2000-6744, Martha P. Mack and Joshua Mack. We have service and no one is present.
Donald K. Bowling, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case was initiated on 5/7/2020. There was some confusion on the part, I believe, of whoever owns the property at the time as to whether or not the fence in question belonged to them or their next door neighbor. I did a GIS, as you can see where the arrow is and where the shadow that the arrow is pointing to is in fact the fence in question that is dilapidated and in need of repair or replacement. There have been 5 visits and a posting on the property. I have not had contact with the current owners.
The part, I'm sorry, the part in that we're contesting is that little section back by the flagpole?
It's the partial wood fencing that's falling apart. Actually deteriorates just a little.
That section on the left?
On the right-hand side, yes, sir.
The right by the building?
Yeah, no, it's not by the building. If you see the storage, the outbuilding there, you see the flagpole?
Yes.
That's the wood, the line right there.
Section by the flagpole?
Yes.
Okay.
Ran a GIS and it's well within that property. It could have been put up by a neighbor, but it's still that property owner's responsibility.
Communication with the property owner?
I have no contact with this property owner. This has gone on for a while.
Understand. I grant 14 days to come into compliance, and compliance not achieved by that date, a fine of $150 per day be assessed. Next case, please.
Page 8, item 12, case number CE 200174009, Melvadine Belcher and Timothy Sanders, and we have service and no one is present.
Donna K. Bowling, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case was initiated on 11/23/2020. There have been 5 visits, the last being on 6/1/2021. The violations are accumulations and overgrowth. At the time, the gate was closed. I believe it's the adverse possession case. The people staying there don't really know who the owner is. It's probably an adverse possession or squatters. At the time I was taking these photographs, they were burning wire and cable, stripping it to turn it in for cash. The property has improved slightly since the initial visit, but it is still in violation.
I grant 21 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved, for that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
Page 7, item 13, case number CE 21001348. O'Brien Diaz and Amaris Montalvo. We have service and no one is present, and this is a repeat violation.
Paul Rowan with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case at 2307 Silver Hill Court began on February 4th of this year. There's been no change of an ownership. The property is homesteaded and is residential single family, conventional with a single family use. There's no foreclosure and the tax are paid. This property has 2 separate issues. The first one is the fences, which is the simple one. I was unable to get back in on my recheck to see if the fence violation had been complied. There was a small section of the fence area in the front that was not complied, but I wasn't able to get a good photograph of it. So the fence violation is a simple non-compliance at this point. The second violation is of pool sanitation. This property owner has 5 other previous cases, 2 of which were previous CEB cases. 3 of those cases were for pool sanitation and 1 of the cases was for fences. There is currently a board order. He is a repeat violator. There's a board order dated 12/14/20 in case number CE 2000-3856 with a per occurrence order in place. The pool sanitation violation was complied after 21 days. That violation, we're only here to assess the actual per occurrence fines, if I'm not mistaken.
The property is now in compliance?
The fences are not in compliance.
Okay.
The pool sanitation is strictly it was my understanding, once a per occurrence order was put in place, that when the property was in violation, even if he came into compliance, we had to come back here to actually assess the $1,000 per day per occurrence order for 21 days. Is that correct? Very good.
Okay, and in your photographs from 6/8, there, I see a commercial vehicle as well. We started a case for the commercial vehicle as well. Is that running separate from this?
I think what we need is 2 different determinations.
I'm just curious. I saw the picture, so. So it looks like we're looking for a repeat violation for the pool sanitation and an initial violation for the fences.
An initial
No.
for the fence is the pool has already been declared a repeat violator and there is already a per occurrence. They're asking you to assess the per occurrence.
Okay, so based on the per occurrence, you're just asking for a fine for.
Yeah, the
21
repeat
days.
violator only applies to the pool sanitation.
And just for clarification, because it's a repeat violator, I can increase my fine amount, correct? Based on,
Right, it's at
Maximum.
1,000, it's at 1,000 now.
it's at 1,000 now. Okay. So my repeat violation, my per occurrence, I could increase.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I grant 21 days to come into compliance. If compliance not achieved by that date, a fine of $1,500 per day be assessed.
For which violation is that?
That's for the pool sanitation.
So what you're doing is
It
you're
is in
you're
compliance.
assessing the $1,000 for 21 days.
Correct.
So it's more than.
An
50.
additional occurrence would be a 1,500.
Well, that would be for future. Right now, you could just do the 1,000. And then you could increase it for future violations.
I understand. That's correct. I'd amend my order for $1,000 at 21 days and future violations to increase to $1,500 per day.
Very good.
And then for the fences, just a standard repeat violation and add a fine for a repeat because that is not a repeat violation, or is that repeat?
No, the fences is not. It's an initial violation. So
Okay.
it'd be just
So
straight.
for offenses, it will be 21 days, $250 per day. Keep the days the same.
Okay, so the fines are not going to be accruing daily for the pool because they're already complied. So we're just assessing $21,000 actually, $1,000 per day
$1,000 per day for the 21 days.
for the 21 days.
Correct.
Okay, I got it. Item 14, case number CE 1900-9841, Michael Garner. We have service and no one is present. And just to let you know, the nuisance condition was added. It's not that it was added onto the agenda because it was complied in error. So they were notified of it.
It was just omitted from our agenda.
Yes.
Understand. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, how you doing?
Good.
Officer Sally, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Property in question is located at 4928 South 84th Street and is owned by Michael Garner. Property is not in foreclosure. Property was first inspected on July 1st, 2019, and it was cited for air condition defective / inoperative, electrical wiring, and nuisance condition. As of my last inspection on June 7th this year, all of the violations still remained. I'd just like to add, I spoke with the owner and I think it was April 16th. I went to the house for inspection, to inspect the house. He wasn't home, his gardener was there. I had his gardener phone, give him a call, and I spoke to him. Refused to let me in the house to inspect it. This past Monday, went by there again. He was there this time, still refused to let me in to inspect it. So no cooperation at all with the owner.
Okay. And as far as we know, all three violations are still in effect then without having inspection.
Yes.
Okay. I grant 14 days to come into compliance. If compliance not achieved by that date, a fine of $300 per day be assessed. Next case, please.
Can I make a comment?
Please.
I don't know, you might want to be a little more severe with him.
Okay.
Because he's.
What are we looking at?
Maybe $500 a day to get his attention because he's very adamant about not letting me up in there. Very hostile.
Oh, and I did not see that this case has been going on for 2019.
Yeah.
So, okay. I amend my motion for case CE 19009841 based on the evidence presented. I revise it to 14 days, $500 per day. Thank you for reminding me. Appreciate it.
Page 8, item 15, case number CE 200000151, Eric B. Howard. We have service and no one is present.
Once again, Officer Sadler, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Property is located at 7920 Tidewater Trail and is owned by Eric B. Howard. Property is not in foreclosure. First inspected this property on January 7th, 2020, and it was cited for accumulation and proper use of right-of-way, outside open storage, agricultural animals in residential district, and inoperable vehicles. As of my last inspection on June 7th, only inoperable vehicle remained. And I haven't had no contact with the owner as well.
Okay. They grant 14 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by the date of fine of $400 per day be assessed.
Item 16, case number CE 2000-2557, Walk Holdings LLC. We have service and no one is present.
Officer Sally, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Property in question located at 2808 Clifford Sample Drive and is owned by Work Holdings LLC. Property is not in foreclosure. Property was first inspected on February 20th, 2020, and was cited for accumulation and overgrowth. As of my last inspection on June 7th, both those violations remain. However, I'd like to add that there was some accumulation that was picked up, but they didn't get it all.
Communication with the client, with the property owner?
I'm sorry?
Any communication with the property owner?
No.
You grant 14 days to come into compliance. If compliance not achieved by that date, a fine of $300 per day be assessed.
Page 9, item 17, case number CE 2000-6701, Taco Cruz. We have service and no one is present.
Officer Sally, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. Property in question located at 7601 Causeway Boulevard and is owned by GV Investments Group Incorporated. Property is not in foreclosure. Property was first inspected on May 7th, 2020, and was cited for a temporary vendor and inoperable vehicle. As of my last inspection on June 7th, this past Monday, both those violations still remain. And I'd like to add, I did have contact with the owner on Monday afternoon after I inspected it, but he wasn't there. I spoke to him by phone, and there's documents that he has to supply to me for the vendor. He's supposed to supply occupational license, at least from the property owners, but to no avail.
Okay. I grant 21 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $500 per day be assessed.
Item 18, case number CE 190-19570, John Robert Fiddler Life Estate and Melanie Dale DeGarmo. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning, Officer Nando, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This is a multiple violator. This case started in December of 2019. Violations were accumulations, overgrowth, and a fence zoning violation. There's a present fine run case and a past complied fine run for the same property. Every time we clean this property up, he turns around and throws some more stuff out there. That's a problem residence, has a lot of police activity in addition to the code violations you see.
Communication with the property owner?
He's in and out of jail. We've had communication with people on the property, and they have confirmed that his contact information is correct. It's just whether you catch him when he's in or out of jail.
The overgrowth violation shows on my agenda is complied.
Yes, the overgrowth was complied as of my last inspection, which was on the 9th, but the fence zoning violation and accumulations remain.
And do we have any outstanding cases for which we could rule as a repeat violator?
Double check on the only.
You mentioned accumulations, but we don't have that on the agenda.
Right.
So the only violation we have right now to work on is fence and fence zoning violation.
It's two separate, one's for fences because the metal fence, the chain link fence is dilapidated and broken in places. The fence zoning violation is the actual fencing that they're using in the back of the property. They're using sheets of plywood right there, you can see.
Okay.
Sheets of plywood instead of actual fencing material, which is against code.
But no repeat violator opportunity for fences or fence zoning?
No.
Okay. I grant 21 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $450 per day be assessed.
Page 10, item 19, case number CE 2000-7971, 5613 Anna Drive Land Trust. We have service and no one is present.
Excuse me. Officer Hernando again, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case started on the May of 2020. Initial violations were accumulations and overgrowth. This property is not, this property is an odd case. The area, obviously, I'm sure you're all familiar with Anna Drive. This is exactly across the street from the other case that I believe we had last code board. That was for 5613 Anna Drive. This property, try to make contact. Everybody who's living on the property is not supposed to be on the property. I believe it's all vagrants. And they'll bring trash in, come out, and the property owners just refused to maintain it. It's almost like they abandoned it. However, just recently, you see there's a for sale sign. I have not been able to make contact with anybody. The property was posted for this hearing, but all the violations remain.
And this has been in play since May of 2020?
Yes.
I grant 14 days to come into compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $500 per day be assessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 20, case number CE 1901937. This case complied as of June 9. Page 11, item 22, case number CE 2000-6243, Thomas F. Oliver Jr. and Thomas F. Oliver III. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning, Charles Harwell, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This case originated on May 1st of 2020. The occupancy is owner occupied. No, it's not in foreclosure. The zoning is RSC 6 and there's no life safety issues. The violations are inoperable vehicles, and the inoperable vehicles have changed over time, but as you can see through the photographs, but they still remain when you get further in the presentation. Recreational vehicles, as you can see, were occupied. That trailer that was in the front when the case initiated had electric service run to it. And then we have a fence violation and accumulations. So the vehicles in the front of the property changed. Currently, there is no vehicle in front, but they're all in the back. You can see the fence. So I've called the property owner numerous times, left messages, and he hasn't returned my calls.
No contact since initial violation of May of
Not
2020?
since I took over the case, no, sir.
Okay.
And he actually called in a complaint on the inop vehicles in front of his property due to tenants, which was closed, obviously. He called a complaint on his own property.
Seems like concern. Okay.
So this is all in the back of the property.
That's quite a bit. I grant the 21 days to come into compliance. If compliance not achieved by the date, a fine of $500 per day be assessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Page 12, item 25, case number CE 2000-9982. This case complied as of June 10th. Page 13, item 26, Case number CE 2000-9996. This case complied as of June 10th. Item 27, case number CE 2000-7375, Jose Luis Rodriguez Calzonci. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning. Officer Carter, Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This property in question located at 5525 Hillsborough Street, Waimama, is owned by Jose Luis Rodriguez. The property is not in foreclosure. The property was first inspected May 19th, 2020, and it was cited for accumulations, windows and exterior doors, and electrical wiring. As of my last inspection, when the affidavit of service was posted, I observed the cover had been replaced on the electrical wiring panel. However, the window is still cracked, as you can see in this photo here, and there are still accumulations present. There's been no communication with the owner. Okay.
I grant 21 days to come to compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, a fine of $200 per day be assessed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Page 16, item 33, case number CE 2000-8918. This case complied as of June 9th. And that concludes our agenda.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Seeing no new business, I move to adjourn. We are adjourned. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you, everybody online. Appreciate your time.